As I promised, here I am starting with what section 135 of the Companies Act 2013 with respect of what CSR. What is meant by the CSR? We know that few people tell that it is just like what it's a contribution towards the society. So is it actually a contribution towards the society? That is my question. Section 135 of the Companies Act is providing for CSR. So here we are discussing CSR policy is required to be compulsorily followed by all the companies, or it is applicable to some classes of company. So what are the criteria? Can every activities which has been undertaken by the activity towards the society will be treated as what CSR? This is the next question. So here we are first of all talking with respect to section 135 schedule 7 activities. It is stated that CSR activities means any activity which has been undertaken by the company with respect to or subject to the provisions of schedule 7, or activities which has been undertaken by the board of directors of the company on the basis of the recommendation that has been provided by the CSR committee based on the declared CSR policy. That is, if a company, suppose ABC Limited, that company is compulsorily required to comply with the provisions of section 135. So first of all, they will constitute what? A CSR committee. CSR committee is responsible to formulate a CSR policy. So, this company's board of directors, the board of directors of the company shall undertake all the activities which has been recommended by the CSR committee on the basis of what? CSR policy. I hope you understand, which is stating that any activity which has been undertaken by the board of directors on the basis of the recommendation which has been provided by the CSR committee subject to the declared CSR policy and subject to schedule 7. Did you get it? It is stating that any activity which has been undertaken by the company as per the provisions of schedule 7, that is schedule 7 activities, or any activities which has been undertaken by the board of directors on a recommendation that has been provided by the CSR committee based on the declared CSR policy subject to schedule 7. CSR policy shall be drafted or it shall be formulated by the CSR committee after considering what? Schedule 7 activities. Okay. So my next question, ABC Limited. Here we are discuss that ABC Limited is required to compulsorily follow the CSR policy. So my next question, in which situations or is it required to follow this section 135 by all the companies, or which are the situations or which are the condition in which or the criteria in which ABC Limited have to comply with section 135 of the Companies Act 2013. So section 135 stating that section 135 is applicable to every company including foreign company. It can be either incorporated outside India, having a place of business in India, but at the same time they have to comply with section 135 subject to any of these. If it is having a net worth exceeding 500 crore, that exceeding or equal to 500 crore, that is, it is stating that if the company is having net worth of not less than 500 crore, it means 500 crore or more, they have to follow CSR policy. Suppose if they are having a net worth of 250 crore but they are having turnover of 1001 crore, which is so in that case also CSR will be applicable. That is, having a turnover of not less than 1000 crore. Here company's net worth is less than 500 crore but turnover is more than 1000 crore, then CSR is also applicable. The third condition, suppose net worth and turnover is less than 500 crore and 1000 crore but having a profit of what? 10 crore. So the question is whether the CSR is applicable. It is stated that having a profit of not less than 5 crore. In these cases CSR will be applicable. So what are the criteria of CSR? Net worth not less than 500 crore, turnover not less than 1000 crore, or profit not less than 5 crore. So suppose a company, that is ABC Limited, is not having any of these, that is net worth is less than suppose it is 250 crore, turnover 500 crore, profit 2 crore only. This situation is continuously, or this situation is continuing for a period of 3 years. which is stating that the ABC Limited fails to fulfill the above said all criteria for a consecutive 3 financial years. Continuous 3 financial year they are not complying with this any of the condition. So in that case my question is whether they have to comply with section 135. So section Companies Act state that if a company fails to fulfill any of these conditions for a continuous or a consecutive 3 financial year, they are not required to constitute what? CSR or CSR activities or CSR committee, etc. But at the same time company in the first year they are not fulfilling the condition. In the second year they have the turnover of 2000 crore. Third year they are having turnover of 50 crore. Irrespective whether first year and third year, second year is only considered here because they are having 2000 crore. So CSR will be applicable. So if a company on which the CSR is not applicable, it means if a company not having any of these limits or any of this turnover, net worth or profit in the above said limit for a consecutive 3 financial year, they are not required to constitute CSR. That is, if a company ceases to fulfill any of the condition for a consecutive 3 financial year is not required to constitute what? CSR, which is stating that if company ceased to fulfill any of the criteria for consecutive 3 financial year, then it is not required to constitute what? CSR. Suppose ABC Limited is complying with this provision and ABC Limited is required to constitute a CSR committee. So how can a CSR committee can be formulated? Suppose if it is a public company, it shall be constituted with 3 directors and 1 shall be independent director. If CSR committee is constituted, if it is applicable to a public company, it is required to constitute such CSR with 3 directors, minimum of 3 directors, at least 1 shall be independent director. Suppose it is a private company, it can constitute CSR with 2 directors. Then we already told that every company including a foreign company, suppose if it is a foreign company, it shall formulate such a CSR committee with one director who is resident of India and 1 person who has been nominated by the foreign company. Then so a company that is required to comply with the section 135 is required to constitute what? CSR committee. So what are the functions of this CSR committee? CSR committee shall recommend and formulate CSR policy. CSR policy. CSR policy shall be recommended by or formulated by whom? CSR committee. And they will recommend the amount that is to be spent towards CSR activity. That is how much amount that you should spend towards CSR committee. That will be also determined or formulated by or recommended by the CSR committee. Then monitor CSR policy. That is they already formulated CSR policy to the board of directors and the CSR committee will monitor whether they are undertaking the CSR activity as per our CSR policy. So now we discussed the basic parts, which is stated that every company including a foreign company is required to constitute CSR committee as per section 135 of the Companies Act, which is having a net worth of not less than 500 crore, profit of not less than 5 crore, turnover of not less than 1000 crore. But it has been provided in the Companies Act that a company that is fails to fulfill or ceases to fulfill any of the 3 criteria for a continuous 3 financial year is not required to constitute or not required to comply with section 135 of the Companies Act 2013. CSR activities means any activities which has been undertaken by the board of directors of a company subject to Schedule 7 or any activities which has been undertaken by the board of directors of a company with respect of or in according to the recommendations provided by the CSR committee on the which is based on drafted or declared CSR policy subject to Schedule 7. Then functions of CSR committee: recommend CSR policy, recommend the amount towards CSR activities and monitor CSR policy. It is a public company, 3 directors, 1 shall be independent director. Private company, 2 directors. In case foreign company, 2 director, 1 shall be resident of India and 1 shall be nominated by the company. So this is what that we discuss now. Now we are moving towards the balance portion. Okay, so read one time. So here we discuss with respect of the activities or the functions of what? CSR committee. They have to recommend the CSR policy, monitor CSR policy and recommend the amount towards CSR expenditure. Then what are the functions of the board? They obtain what? CSR policy which has been recommended by the CSR committee. They have to approve the CSR policy. Approve CSR policy plus disclose the same in board report. Disclose CSR policy in board report. Then what they have to do? We know that every company should have a website, with especially company that is required to comply with section 135. They have to place CSR policy in the website. Place CSR policy in the website of the company. Then last one is that we know that CSR policy is recommended by the board of directors, recommended by the CSR committee, approved by the board of directors, disclosed by the board of directors, placed the same in the website by the board of directors. They have one more thing they have to do: determine whether CSR policy recommended by the CSR committee is undertaking or implementing properly. Check the implementation, monitor or review what? Implementation of CSR. They have to do the same. Okay, so functions of the board of directors: receive CSR policy, approve the same, disclose the CSR policy in the board report, place the CSR policy in the company's website, then determine whether it is implementing properly or not. These are the functions of the board of directors. We have understand that CSR committee will determine the amount that is to be contributed towards what? CSR activities. Company may contribute any amount towards or any percentage of the profit towards what? CSR policy or CSR activities. But they have one condition. Anything may happen if the company is complying with the criteria. They have to spend at least, that is not less than 2% of the average of 3 immediate preceding financial years profit. In this case, 2017 profit, 2016 profit, 2015 profit. Total profit divided by 3 average profit. We will get what? Average of the profit. So apply 2% on this average profit. That much of amount had to be spent by the company towards CSR activities. So every company that is required to comply with CSR section 135 shall contribute not less than 2% of the average profit of 3 immediate preceding financial years towards CSR activities. Then company should always give preference to the local area. Company is situated in Chennai, but they prefer to do their CSR activities in Mumbai. Not possible. They have to give preference only to the local area. First of all, you have to make your neighbors rich and then go for abroad. Okay. I didn't mean that. Okay. So first of all, they should give preference to the local area. Then suppose if a company XYZ Limited, they fail to contribute that 2% of the average profit of 3 immediate preceding financial years to the CSR activity. They only contributed 1% or 0.5%. So in that case, the company has made what? A failure. A company has made a failure. In case if the company has made any failure with respect to section 135, a proper disclosure shall be made. That is, disclose the reasons because of which they were not in a position, okay, not in a position to contribute towards the CSR activity. Then they have one more thing which I want to say here. Company may, that is the board of directors of the company may decide to undertake CSR activities through its own personnel or its own institution or agencies. If they are undertaking these CSR activities through them, these personnel or institutional agencies should have at least 3 years experience or track record with respect of the same activity. That is, they should have experience with respect of the activities which has been specified in Schedule 7. they should have an established track record. With an established track record, so company may undertake their CSR activities through its own personnel, or the company may build their own CSR capacity or undertake the activities through its own personal institution or established agency, but the condition is that it has to have at least 3 years established track record, and the company may require to spend some amount or expenditures towards if they are undertaking that activities through its own personnel. So such an amount of expense, including administration expense, shall not exceed 5% of the CSR expenditure. That is, we have to determine the total CSR expenditure. Suppose the total CSR expenditure, that is 2% of the 3 years immediate preceding, at least they have to spend 2%. Suppose that 2% was 20 crore. 20 crore not. 20 lakh. At least they, Ambani's company, okay. 20 lakh they have to spend towards what? CSR activity. So they have to spend 20 lakh towards CSR activity, which means that suppose they are undertaking these CSR activities through their own personnel. If they are undertaking the CSR activities through their own personnel, they have to incur some expenditure. They may incur many expense, but the condition is that the amount of expenditure towards such activities shall not exceed 5% of the CSR expenditure. Here CSR expenditure is 20 lakh. So 5% of 20 lakh means 1 lakh. That is, they may only, they may only take 1 lakh rupee towards what? The administrative expense if they are undertaking the CSR activities through their own personal institution, etc. Okay, so company may undertake the CSR activities, or company may build their own CSR capacity or through their own personal, through their or implementing agency, but the expenditures towards that implementing agency or building that capacity, including administration expense, shall not exceed 5% of the total CSR expenditure. Then, so I just explained it. Then the second case is that board of directors may undertake the CSR activities through registered trust, registered society, section 8 company. Registered trust, registered society, section 8 company established by the company. Suppose company is establishing a registered trust, or that is ABC Limited is establishing what? A registered trust, registered society, or a section 8 company which has been established by them, or ABC Limited and XYZ Limited, both are established them. So it can be either individually or partly with other company. They can undertake that activities through this registered trusted society section 8 company established by the company either individually or with others. Or the board of directors of the company may undertake the CSR activities through the registered trusted registered society section 8 company which has been established by the central government or by the state government or any act of parliament. Either which has been established by them along with others, individually or along with others, or it can be either which has been established as per central government, state government regulations or an act of parliament. So there is nothing to worry with respect of the same. Suppose the company is undertaking the CSR activity through a registered trust, registered society, section 8 company which is not either falling in A category or B category, that is any others registered trusted society section 8 company not falling A category or B category, that is neither they established or neither central government, state government, act of parliament established it. It has been established by any third party. So in that case, such registered trust, such registered society or such section 8 company through which they are undertaking the CSR committee should have established track record of 3 years in similar project. This is the condition. That is, if they are undertaking the CSR activities subject to Schedule 7 through registered trust, registered society, section 8 company which has been neither established by the company or by the central government, state government or an act of parliament. In that case, such registered trust, such registered society, such section 8 company should have established track record in similar activities for a period of 3 years. So here we discuss that the amount towards CSR expenditure or CSR activities may be formulated or determined by the CSR committee, which shall not be less than 2% of the average profit of 3 immediate preceding financial year. Company should give preference to the local area. If company fails to do so, they have to disclose the same in the board report. Company may undertake CSR activities by building their own CSR capacity or through their own institution or implementing agency, but the expenditure towards that activities, it means that including administration expense, shall not exceed what 5% of the total CSR expense. That is, expenditure to establish that CSR capacity or that implementing agency shall not exceed 5% of the CSR expense. Then we discuss that board of directors of the company may undertake the CSR activities through registered trust, registered society, Section 8 company which has been established by the company either individually or along with others, or Section 8 company, registered trust, registered society which has been incorporated or which has been established by the central government, state government or an act of parliament. If the company is undertaking such activities, neither A category, B category, trust society, Section 8 company, such trust society, Section 8 company should have established track record in similar activities for a period of not less than 3 financial year. So this is what now we discussed. Okay. So here we are explaining certain cases or certain activities that is not treated as a CSR activity. Suppose any activity which has been undertaken outside India. Why this CSR activities is undertaken? For providing social welfare to the India. That is India. Chairs in bus stand, railway stations, or pollution control equipment establishment, or waste basket or some pollution control or waste disposing machinery for protecting our environment. These are some examples of the CSR activities. So the following activities are not included in CSR. Any activity which has been undertaken outside India, no benefit to Indian citizens. So why this is included in CSR? No. Okay. Any benefit or any activities which has been undertaken for the benefit of employees or their families, not included CSR. Suppose employee happening some accident during the course of what? Employment. So the company is providing some activities that may be beneficial to himself or their family. But these are not included in what? CSR. Donation to political party. Company may donate any amount towards political party, but not included what? CSR. They have a separate section in Companies Act 182. We will study later. Okay, no problem. Any activity which has been undertaken by the company in the normal course of business, not included in CSR, or any activity which has been undertaken by the company that is not in compliance with Schedule 7. They are undertaking many activities and they are telling that this is CSR, this is CSR, this is CSR. But these activities is not included in what? Schedule 7. So how it becomes CSR? Arey yaar, socho na. So activity which is not included in Schedule 7 not become CSR. So Section 135, activities not include CSR. Any activity undertaken outside India, any activity for the benefit of employees and their families, donation to political party, not included. Any activity undertaken in the normal course of business, any activity that is in non-compliance with what? Schedule 7. So here we completed our Section 135. I will revise it once more. Section 135 is applicable to every company that comply the following criteria and having a net worth of not less than 500 crore, turnover not less than 1000 crore, profit not less than 5 crore. But if a company fails to or ceases to fulfill all these conditions for 3 consecutive financial year, not required to comply with Section 135. If company required to comply with 135, should constitute CSR committee, at least 3 directors. 1 shall be independent director. In case if it is a private company, 2 director. Foreign company, 2 director. 1 shall be resident of India and other shall be nominated by the foreign company. Then CSR activities subject to or undertaken by the board of directors subject to the recommendations of the CSR committee as per drafted or declared CSR policy subject to Schedule 7. Then Functions of CSR committee. What are the functions of CSR committee? Recommend CSR policy, monitor CSR policy, recommend amount of expenditure towards CSR activity. Functions of the board of directors: approve CSR policy, determine the implementation of CSR policy, disclose CSR policy in the board report, place CSR policy in the website. Then, board of directors of the company may undertake the CSR activity through registered trust, registered society, section 8 company established by the company either individually or with other company, or registered trust, registered society, section 8 company established by central government, state government, act of parliament. If they are not falling in A category or B category, if it is incorporated or established by any others, such company or such section 8 company registered society should have established track record in similar activity for a period of not less than 3 financial years. Then, company may build their own CSR capacity, but any expense including administration expense towards that activity not exceed 5% of the CSR expense. Then the question, how much CSR expense should be contributed? CSR expense shall be not less than 2% of the average profit of 3 immediate preceding financial year. In case if a failure has been made, disclose in the board report. Any activity which has been undertaken outside India for the benefit of employees and their family, any contribution to political party, any activity not comply with what schedule 7, any activity which has been undertaken in the normal course of business shall not become what CSR activity. Company must give preference to the local area. So this is what our section 135. Thank you friends. So here we are completed our company audit. They have some simple portion. I will take each that portion as a separate heading, such as what corporate governance, in which the audit committee and their functions are included. Cost audit, I will separately take cost audit, no problem. Okay, so you just revise whatever I have taken yet. All the best, yes.